Hi, my name's Paige Pierce. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and this is what's in my bag. Well, I have all three molds of our putters in my bag. My absolute favorite one is a PA4. I have the 300 series and the 400 series in my bag. The 300 series I use for putting. I have a little bit lighter weight, 166 and 168. And the reason why I do the lighter weights on these is because I like the little bit of extra glide I get. One of the worst ways to miss is low on a basket, so I feel like that these give me a little bit extra glide, and they just go so straight. This is the reason I love them. The rim feels great in my hand. It's a lot different than the PA1 and the PA2 as far as the rim, and like I said, it's a lot straighter putter. And I feel like out of all the discs that Prodigy offers, this is the one that's really changed my game. Not only with the 300 series, but with the 400 series. This is anywhere from 150 feet and in. I just know that I'm gonna get within 20 feet of the basket with this disc. I feel the most confident when this disc is in my hand. And that's, again, just because it's so predictable and really easy to grip. So the other two putters I have are the PA1 and the PA2. The PA1 I throw in 300 series. I don't use this too often, but if there's a slight headwind on one of those 150-foot shots, I'll throw this one because it's a little bit more overstable than my PA4. Another use that I have for this is, you know, a trick shot out of the woods. You know, if you're in the rough and you do a step out sidearm, this is a great disc for that, for me, and it holds the line I put it on, and because it's a PA1, it's stable. It comes back a little bit at the end and it doesn't cut roll. The PA2 I throw in 400 series. This is an amazing disc. If there's any wind, if I ever have a doubt that my PA4 is going to flip over, this disc gets me to the basket without a doubt. And I know that it's going to finish to the left, so I could put it out a little bit wider. You know, if I have to go around any trees on upshots, this is the one I throw. And the reason why I throw the PA2 in the 400 series is just the same reason as the PA4. This plastic is just really consistent and really grippy, and since I'm throwing them for upshots, you really need that grip. You don't want to mess your upshot up. You know, a lot of people say, drive for show, putt for dough. They never talk about upshots, and I think upshots is the most important part of the game in my opinion, because, you know, if you throw a bad drive, you gotta have a great upshot to get to the basket. If you have a good drive, you still want to get your upshot close enough so that you don't ruin the good drive you just had. So this 400 series allows me to do that. All right, next up I have my mid-ranges. I have 6 mid-ranges in my bag. Mostly just some backups, but my favorite mid-range that I've ever thrown is M4, and I throw this in the 400G plastic. It feels amazing in my hand. In a mid-range, I think the 400G plastic is the go-to plastic. I throw these 180. The reason why is the M4 is a very straight mid-range, but with this little bit heavier weight, it allows me to throw it hard and straight, and it'll still go straight without flipping. And then I feel like I get a little bit of a fade at the end because of the heavier weight. The next mid-range I have in my bag is the 300 series M3. I just put these in my bag, and I've been throwing those 400G M4s, and you know, I thought it's the only mid-range I need, you know, but these are amazing. The 300 series is a little bit tackier, so in the woods it gives me, like, if I have a shorter wooded upshot, but it's a little bit too far for my putters, I throw these, and they just, I mean, I can, since they're M3, they're a little bit more stable than my M4s. So I can throw it a little bit harder, and it just comes up to flat and never varies off of its line. And even though it's 300 series, which is a little bit less overstable, it still hooks up at the end, which I love. So the reason I would choose this over a 400G M4 would be if there's a little more trees and it's a more narrow path. I feel like I can get this one a little bit straighter, but then at the end it'll fade a little bit harder than my M4 would. My last two mid-ranges are the M1 in the 400G and the M2 in the 400G. This used to be my go-to mid-range as far as overstable. As you can see, I've been throwing it for quite a while and it's beat in, so this one kind of found a spot in my bag, just as very, very, very predictable, overstable, no matter how much wind, and no matter, you know, how hard I throw it, it's definitely going left. So I throw this a lot in wind conditions. If I have a short sidearm approach, I throw this. But the reason I kept this in my bag, even though I found this overstable M1, is like I said, it's beat in and it's very predictable. I know that it's not really going to get much flippier because it's already, you know, beat in how it's going to be. But it goes, as opposed to my other mid-ranges, I can throw this one 100% power and it still stays on the hyzer line but pushes straight. So I find that shot very useful in low ceiling shots or wooded shots as well. Then for my fairways, which is I think the funnest shot to throw, I absolutely fell in love with the F5 when it just came out, and I have two in my bag right now. The blue one is a lighter weight. Both of them are 400 series, but the lighter weight is a little bit touchier, but I get a little bit more glide than I do on the heavier weight. On the lightweight, it's a 167, and I'll choose this one over this one whenever there's less wind, and whenever it's a little bit more wooded. I feel like this one goes a little straighter than this one. The heavier weight is a 174. The reason why I would choose the heavier one, which is a 174, would be if it's wide open, and I can really put a move on it, and I know, you know, even if I throw it hard, it's gonna hook back still. And I just love the predictability of the heavier weight of the F5. And another reason would be if it's windy, you know, just a little bit more overstable. You know, you don't want to be questioning your shot. So even though I do love this one, I don't want to question it, and I'll club up to the heavier weight. And then my next disc, that's a fairway, is the F7. I also throw this one in the 400 series. This one I don't throw too often because since I found the F5s, but whenever I need a shot that's about 300 feet, I know that I can count on this one to go straight for a while and fade a little to the right. And the shot is useful when you need it, and I love the dependability that this is going to fade to the right but not hard enough to cut roll. And that ends it with my fairway drivers. But then I have my drivers. I have two D1s in my bag. This 400 series is very flat and heavy. I use this for any skip shot, any super hard headwind. This disc, I don't think it's ever flipped on me. It's very, very overstable. I throw it a lot on low skips or open hyzers. And then this one is 400G. This used to be my go-to disc until I found the D3, which I'll tell you guys about. But this is a 164, and it just gets very big distance, and I can put a good turn on it, and it still hyzers out because it's a D1, but the lighter weight gives it a little bit more glide than I would get on the heavier one. So my next disc is the D3, which I have 3 of them in my bag. And this is my go-to driver, like I said. It's the most long-range driver I've thrown, and for my power and my size and my grip and everything, it's just the perfect driver for me. This is my main one. They're all 400G, and they are lightweight 166 to 169. I feel that for me with the lighter weight, I can, just like my D1, I can get a little bit more move on it and it'll still hook up at the end because it's an overstable disc. I like the domier ones because they seem to get a little more glide. But the reason that I switched to these as my main driver as opposed to the D1 is because a little bit less overstable, and I don't have to try as hard to throw it. It's just a very easy shot that I can control, and it's just very predictable. And the last disc I have is my D4. This thing's been beat to all get out. It's very understable. I can throw it in a tailwind. It's a great flying disc. I throw it in the 400G plastic. I throw 174 on this. I usually throw lighter weights on flippier discs because they're meant to flip anyways. This disc is perfect for a long-range, understable shot. You can put it high with a tailwind and it'll just steadily glide over. If you put it down, you can throw a good roller on it and it'll hold the line. And if you throw, unless there's a headwind, you know, if there's no wind or a tailwind, you can throw a pop-up, flip-up hyzer and it'll just flip up to straight and just glide for a while with a slight right finish. And I think it's a great disc for beginners or someone with a little bit less power, or even someone with a lot of power that needs a slight right turn. And it probably took me a few months to beat this in. I mean, I've had this in my bag for probably one of the first batch of discs I got, and I just love the way it flew. And even with this much, you know, scratches and stuff in it, it still flies true to how it did, and I definitely recommend it.